A movie premieres at the Cannes Film Festival. It gradually became extremely difficult to find. Over time, the film fell out of circulation. Many film historians consider it one of Jeanne Moreau's overlooked works. Then, almost without anyone noticing, it disappears. For many years, the film was difficult to access through mainstream home media or streaming services. For decades, it became one of the hardest films to find in European cinema. This is the story of The Adolescent, a forgotten French masterpiece that slowly vanished from public view, leaving behind only memories, film archives, and a growing legend. Before we begin, if you love discovering forgotten movies, hidden film history, Hollywood never tells, make sure you subscribe, leave a like, and share this video with another movie lover. Released in 1979, The Adolescent currently holds a 6.1 rating out of 10 on IMDb. Originally titled L'Adolescent, was directed by Jeanne Moreau, one of France's most celebrated actresses. Audiences knew her as a screen icon, but behind the camera, she wanted to tell a different kind of story. Rather than creating a glamorous drama or an entertaining romance, Moreau chose something much quieter. She wanted to capture a single moment that everyone experiences, but very few films truly understand: the fragile transition between childhood and adulthood. Not through dramatic speeches, not through shocking twists, but through ordinary moments that slowly change a person's life forever. The story follows 13-year-old Marie during the final summer before World War II. As Europe moves toward disaster, Marie is sent to stay in the French countryside while tension quietly grows inside her own family. Her parents' relationship is falling apart, but no one explains anything to her. Like many children, she's expected to simply accept what the adults decide. Instead, she watches, she listens, she tries to understand a world that suddenly feels unfamiliar. During her stay, she forms an unexpected friendship with Dr. Levi, a thoughtful man who speaks to her with genuine respect instead of treating her like a child. For Marie, that simple kindness changes everything. For the first time, she feels understood. But history has other plans. As war approaches, people begin disappearing from everyday life. Conversations become quieter. Fear replaces certainty. And Marie learns a painful lesson that millions of children would soon discover across Europe. Growing up sometimes happens because life gives you no other choice. What makes this film extraordinary isn't what happens on screen, it's what remains unspoken. Most coming-of-age stories build toward a dramatic ending that explains everything. The Adolescent does the opposite. It trusts silence. It allows expressions, pauses, and unfinished conversations to carry emotions that dialogue never could. Watching it feels less like following a traditional movie and more like remembering your own childhood. The uncertainty, the confusion, the realization that adults don't always know what they're doing. That realization becomes the film's emotional center. For Jeanne Moreau, this wasn't simply another directing project. It was deeply personal. She had lived through wartime France herself. She understood what it meant to grow up surrounded by unanswered questions and invisible fears. Instead of recreating history through battles or politics, she focused on something much smaller and perhaps much more universal. She showed how enormous historical events quietly reshape ordinary lives. Children rarely understand history while it's happening. They only feel that something precious is slipping away. That emotional truth gives the film its remarkable authenticity. Even the production reflected Moreau's commitment to realism. Rather than casting a polished young star, she chose an inexperienced 13-year-old girl, whose natural performance brought remarkable honesty to Marie's character. Nothing feels overly rehearsed. Her reactions seem spontaneous, sometimes awkward, sometimes uncertain, exactly like real adolescence. Interestingly, the version audiences eventually saw wasn't exactly the film Moreau originally completed. around 15 minutes were removed during editing to create a shorter theatrical release. Those deleted scenes have never officially resurfaced, leaving film historians wondering how much of Moreau's original vision has ever been lost forever. When The Adolescent premiered at Cannes, reactions weren't unanimous. Many critics admired its emotional precision and delicate storytelling. Others felt almost nothing happened. Ironically, that criticism revealed exactly why the film was so unique. Life doesn't always announce its biggest moments. Sometimes the memories that shape us forever arrive quietly. A conversation, a goodbye, a glance across a room, a silence that suddenly means everything. Moreau understood that better than most filmmakers.
Unfortunately, the movie entered theaters during a period when audiences increasingly preferred larger productions filled with spectacle and excitement. Compared to those films, The Adolescent asked viewers to slow down, to observe, to reflect. That made it difficult to market. Studios struggled to promote such an intimate drama, and its limited release quickly ended. Without strong distribution or continued support, the film gradually disappeared from public circulation. Its absence wasn't caused by scandal. It wasn't officially banned. It simply faded away until very few people remembered it existed. Years later, scholars and cinephiles began searching for overlooked works by important female directors. That renewed interest led many back to Jeanne Moreau's forgotten film. Festival screenings slowly returned. Film schools discussed it again. Critics re-evaluated its importance. Modern directors exploring adolescence through quiet realism have often been compared to the emotional style pioneered by The Adolescent decades earlier. Yet, despite this renewed appreciation, the movie remains frustratingly difficult to find. For many viewers, it has become almost mythical, a film everyone discusses but few have actually seen. Perhaps that's exactly what makes it so fascinating. The Adolescent isn't interested in easy answers. It reminds us that growing up often means accepting uncertainty, that people disappear from our lives without warning, that history changes ordinary families in ways children can barely understand, and that innocence rarely ends with one dramatic moment. Instead, it slips away little by little until one day you realize it is already gone. Nearly half a century after its release, Jeanne Moreau's quiet masterpiece continues to speak with surprising honesty. Maybe it disappeared because it arrived before audiences were ready to appreciate such gentle storytelling. Or maybe some films don't truly vanish. They simply wait for the next generation willing to rediscover them. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden history behind this forgotten classic, don't forget to subscribe, because every week we explore remarkable films that time almost erased. Until next time, keep watching beyond the famous titles, because cinema's greatest stories are often the ones that nearly disappeared forever.